Little Red Riding Hood and the Dragon. Written by YING, CHANG, COMPESTINE. Illustrated by YING. By now you have probably heard the old folk tale about a girl in a red cape. She and her grandmother were gobbled up by a wolf, but were rescued by a woodsman. The truth is that the tale took place here in China. There wasn't a woodsman, and I, the gentle wolf, certainly was not the one who ate them. Here is the real story. Once upon a time, there lived a little girl in a village near the Great Wall. When her grandma, Naina, sewed her a red silk hood from the Kung Fu performances, she loved it so much that she wore it everywhere. People began to call her Little Red Riding Hood, or Little Red. One day, Little Red and her mother heard that Naina was sick. They gathered herbs and cooked a pungent soup. Then they baked a big, sweet rice cake. Her mother put the soup and cake into a basket and said, "Take this to Naina. Stay on the path and don't talk to strangers." "Don't worry, Mommy." Little Red drew her sword and leaped into a flying back kick. "I'm a good Kung Fu fighter. I can protect myself." She picked up the basket and ran out of the house. Little Red stayed on the path and soon saw her grandmother's house in the distance. Suddenly, a dragon blocked her way. "Where are you going, Little Red?" Dragon asked in a sweet voice. "To my grandmother's," she answered. "Where does she live?" "There." She pointed at a red house in the shadow of the Great Wall. Dragon moved closer. "What's in your basket?" "A rice cake and herbal soup for my sick grandma." "P.U. Is that the awful smell coming from the soup?" Dragon pinched his nose and stepped back. "Yes, but it will help her get better," said Little Red. "That smelly soup will only make her sicker," laughed Dragon. "You know what would make your grandmother better?" "Ginseng. My mother and I looked for it, but we couldn't find any." "Well, there's a big ginseng root under that old tree." Dragon pointed to the forest. "Oh, thank you. I must get it for my grandma." Little Red forgot what her mother had told her and ran off the path. Meanwhile, Dragon hurried to Naina's house and knocked on the door. "Is that you, my Little Red Riding Hood?" "Yes, Naina," said Dragon in a high-pitched voice. "Come in, my dear. I am too weak to get up." Dragon burst into the house. Without a word, he leaped over to Naina and swallowed her whole. Then he put on her nightgowns and caps and slid under the bed covers. When Little Red reached Naina's house, she was surprised to find the door half open. "Naina," she called out. Who is it?" asked a hoarse voice. "It's me, Little Red. I bought you something special." "Oh, my dear, come in, come in." In the dark room, Little Red saw Naina's nightcap peeking out of the blankets on the bed. "Naina, what happened to your voice?" "Oh, my dear, I'm sick with a sore throat." "I dug a ginseng root for you. It will help you get better." "Oh, my dear." A large hand reached for the ginseng. "Naina, what large hands you have." "Oh, my dear, all the better to hold you with." "And Naina, what big eyes you have." "Oh, my dear, all the better to see you with." "And Naina, what big teeth you have." "Oh, my dear, all the better to eat you with." Dragon gobbled up Little Red and her basket and topped it off with the ginseng. Little Red slid down Dragon's throat and landed on something soft. "Naina," shouted Little Red. "Oh no, He ate you too? Cried Naina. Don't cry, Naina. Little Red hugged her grandma. Look at everything he has gobbled up. Little Red rummaged through the piles in Dragon's tummy. How will we ever get out of here? Sobbed Naina. You rest. I have an idea. Little Red pulled a yo-yo from the heap, twirled it, and flung it high. The yo-yo bounced off the dragon's stomach above her head. Dragon yelped, eyes wide open in surprise. Taking the ribbons in her hands, Little Red spun around, drawing circles in the air. The soft silk tickled Dragon's belly, making him quiver and gasp for breath. Little Red blew on a swona as hard as she could while Nain pounded on a drum. Dragon was so startled that he covered his ears and ran out of the house. And then Little Red did her very best kung fu moves, axle kicks, crescent kicks, and roundhouse kicks. Dragon roared in pain. Little Red splashed the herbal soup around Dragon's tummy, churned like a wild sea. He gagged and reached. Then he came, the soup, along with the yo-yo, ribbons, musical instruments, Naina, and last, Little Red Riding Hood, sword in hand. Little Red jumped in front of Dragon and ordered, "Scram!" And Dragon did. To this day, Dragon stays far away from girls in red capes. I know because I saw it firsthand. Now that's the real story. I don't know how people ended up with a silly folktale that gave me, the gentle wolf, a bad reputation. The end.